for this. Recording's in progress. All right. So today, here's what we're going to talk about. Get out of the middle. Get out of the middle. What are you talking about, Robert? Who knows? So you don't have to write this down. You can if you want to. This is just kind of some basic information that I've discovered in my research on real estate and things like that over the past year or two. And what I've discovered is that the middle class in real estate is shrinking. Now, that there's probably, if you probably researched other professions and things like that, you probably very similar in other professions as well. But let's just focus on real estate. That's all I really know about. The middle class in real estate is shrinking. The number of agents doing 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 deals a year is growing. And the number of agents doing 0 or 1 is growing. So, which means the higher end is growing and the lower end is growing, which means that just by simple math, the middle is shrinking. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units, things like that, that's shrinking. Agents in the middle are moving in one of two ways. They're either getting better and they're moving to high producing, or they're staying the same, which is moving them towards 0. It's not that they're getting worse and getting to 0. It's they're staying the same and moving to 0. So you have the middle class shrinking, either getting better and going up here, or staying the same, but just getting lower production because they're staying the same. As Lou Holtz, famous football coach, has said before, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're not staying the same. So here's what this all means. Being in the middle is not sustainable in the long run. You might be able to stay in the middle for now. You might be able to stay in the middle for a little bit of time. But in the long run, it's not sustainable. You will either become a high producer or you will become a 0 producer. You will not be able to sustain in the long run being in the middle. So here's what I want to talk about today. How do you get out of the middle? Or let's back up. Some of you aren't in the middle yet. Some of you are newer to the business or haven't been producing all that much. And you're thinking, Robert, I'm not even at the middle yet. Okay, well, this is going to help you get to the middle, but help you blow past it. Okay, because you can't be at 0 and say, all right, I got to get to the middle and then figure it out. No, you got to get past the middle faster. So here's how we get out of the middle. Okay, I wrote down a list of thoughts here. They're not necessarily in any particular order of importance. This is just how they're written. All right, first thing I wrote down here, write this down. Accept it. Accept it. So what do I mean by accept it? I mean, accept the fact that what I said is true. The middle class is shrinking, and you will have to make a decision of, do I want to go to the high producing end or do I want to go to 0? Now, here's the thing. Who here would like to go to 0? Nobody wants to go to 0. Okay, great. I just want to make sure there's not an outcast in here. Some of you might raise your hand and go, actually, Robert, yeah, 0 seems okay. Less stress. Okay. Or, it's April. So when you make more money, what do you have to do in April?
Pay taxes.
You have to pay more taxes. So some of you are going, Robert, the 0 sounds kind of good. I don't want to pay taxes. I actually had that on a recruiting call. It was the only time. Now, would you agree that I talk a lot? Can we all agree that I talk a lot? Yes? Put a 1 in the chat box if Robert talks a lot. Okay?
Nah.
Yeah. Okay, Robert talks a lot. I was stumped one time on a recruiting call. Once. because I pride myself. My biggest skill in sales is objection handling. It's my biggest skill. I got stumped one time. Does anybody want to guess what the agent said to me, what objection the agent gave to me that totally stumped me? Anybody want to take a guess?
If I make too much money, I'll have to pay too much in tax.
That's it. That was what got me. Mr. and Mrs. Agent, what if I could show you how you could earn an extra $200,000, $300,000 with our particular program? And they said, yeah, but if I make that much more money, I have to pay more taxes. And I had nothing. It was the only time in my life I was stumped on an objection. I got nothing for you. Right? So accept the fact that it's not sustainable to be in the middle. You're going to have to make a decision to either get better, to go to high producing, or stay the same, which will get you to zero. Okay. You just have to accept that it's not okay to just be in the middle anymore. It's just not going to work. Second thing I wrote down, don't think it can't happen to you. Don't think it can't happen to you. Who here has been in real estate more than 10 years? Raise your hand or put a 1 in the chat box if you've been in more than 10 years. So there's either, okay, so I see a few people in the chat box. I see 2 people, a couple people raise their hands. So either we don't have a very experienced group or some of you are not paying attention. I'm going to go with the fact that some of you are not paying attention.
I'm just eating right now.
The reality of being a speaker. Okay. The reality of being a speaker. For those of you that ever want to become a professional speaker, here's the reality of being a speaker. You have to learn how to entertain yourself. Okay. Accept the fact that most people are not listening. All right. That's why most speakers are expressives. We can have conversations with ourselves all day. Moving on. Don't think it can't happen to you. Well, Robert, I've been in business 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I got a database. I got a system. Everything works. I'm fine. I don't need to grow. I don't need to get better. You need to grow. You need to get better. You need to keep improving, because if you think that you can't lose it all and go closer to zero, you will be wrong. I won't name names because I don't want to do that. I don't want to be disrespectful to people. Okay. But there have been people in these last couple of years that really shocked me on their production, and some of which have left the business. Really shocked me. And it was simply because they didn't grow. They didn't adapt. They stayed the same and thought that they were good. They were comfortable. They had their base core of business, and then they lost it. There's an agent just recently, just last week, I found this out, that it was a very good producer and is now essentially out of the business. And I said, what happened? How did this happen? They went with our company. It was an outside agent. And they just said, you know what? I just was very relaxed on my morals, and I figured I had this all figured out. And then what happened is that as I started to kind of get back in the swing of things, I found that a lot of the people that I thought were, loyal specific to me, were working with other people. So not only was I losing business, now the business I was trying to keep, I was doing everything I could to stay above water, was the term that they used, because I'm now competing with everyone else and they don't know if I'm still in the business. And it just started to snowball. I was losing more and more business. And now they're pretty much, I don't know what they're going to do. They're thinking that they're just going to get out of real estate. Don't think it can't happen to you. For those of you that have been around for a while, if you're not getting better, you will start to get down closer to that zero. Okay. You have to accept this fact. Okay. Number 3, I want you to rewrite your goals. Rewrite your goals. What is the benefit of rewriting your goals? What's the benefit of rewriting your goals?
Remember what they are.
Remember what they are. Yeah. What else? Why would I ask you to rewrite your goals? Come on, somebody.
Keep you in track.
Keep on track. All right, good.
Maybe
Good,
they're
good.
different now.
Yeah, they might be different now. They might be different now. You got to be on track. Okay. Remember what they are. Yukiko says have clarity. Yeah, absolutely. Here's why also I want you to rewrite your goals. You need to get re-excited. You need to get re-excited. How many of you wrote a business plan in January? Okay. Raise your hand or put a 1 in the chat box if you wrote a business plan in January. So far, I have 4 people. This is not good. Okay, great. How many of you have not looked at that business plan since January? Don't raise your hand. We need to rewrite your goals to get re-excited, re-energetic, to focus on getting better. Why do I want to get better, Robert? Why do I want to go through this? Why do I want to work on my skills? I have to rewrite my goals. I have to get re-excited about what's out there. Why do I want to keep doing this? Do you face a lot of rejection in real estate? Yes or no? Good. Yes, you face a lot of rejection in real estate.
Yes.
So is that easy? Is it easy to deal with rejection? Is it enjoyable to deal with rejection? Be honest. No,
No,
it's awful. It's terrible. Being told no all the time. I don't care how used to it you are. It never gets any better. So if you don't have a strong connection to getting better, to facing rejection, it's going to wear on you and it's going to eat you alive. And then it's going to be like, well, why am I continuing to do this? Rewrite your goals. Get excited. And if you're not excited about your goals, keep writing until you find something that's exciting. You don't have to believe me, but I am 100% convinced that every single person in the world can be motivated. You don't have to believe that if you don't want to. That's fine. I believe everybody can be motivated. They just need to find the thing that motivates them. And here's the secret. It can be superficial. Sometimes we write our goals and think, well, I don't have kids, or I don't care about my kids, or, I don't, have a spouse or family to take care of. Well, what would you like? I'd love a yacht in Marina Del Rey Harbor. There you go. Doesn't have to be hard. It can be superficial. I want a beach house. I want my own jet. I want to fly first class to Italy. Great. It can be superficial, because the reality is some of us are not the type of people that have to go real deep and like, oh, the kids and the family. Some of it is, and some of you don't care. Let's just be honest. So don't write goals that you think should be your goals. Write goals that actually are your goals. They're going to get you motivated, get you excited. Now, I've talked about this before. What's the quickest way to find out if you have the right goal? What's the quickest way to find out if you have the right goal? Or the quickest way to find out you have the wrong goal? Same answer. Anybody?
You do something about it.
You do something about it. Sure. Sure. How about this? Has the alarm clock ever gone off and you didn't want to get up? That happened to anybody ever? I see 5
Yes.
people. 5
Yes,
people and 34 liars. Okay. Here's how you know if you have the wrong goal. The alarm clock goes off and you just hit the snooze and say, no, I'm good. You need a new goal. The joke I've made for years. First class trip to Italy with the family. Alarm clock goes off and you go, there's a great Italian restaurant right down the street. I'm sure the food there is just as good. And you hit the snooze. You need a new goal. Because if you have the right goal, the alarm goes off and you go, let's go. Up and at 'em. I know it's dark outside. Get up. Go get it. Rewrite your goals. Next point I wrote down here, be greedy. Be greedy. Well, Robert, that's not nice. I'm aware. Sometimes this isn't supposed to be kumbaya. Anyone ever seen the movie Wall Street, 1988, Michael Douglas, Academy Award winner? For those of you who saw that, what's the quote? What's the famous quote? What's the famous quote from that movie?
Greed is good.
Greed is good. Remember Michael Douglas, slick back hair, looked like Pat Riley. Some of you don't know who Pat Riley is either. We'll get there. All right. Slick back hair, the suit. And he's talking, he goes, greed is good. And everyone's like, whoa, this guy, the ego on this guy. I want you to be greedy. Here's what I mean by be greedy. All the agents that are stuck being the same or not involved, which are a ton of them right now. I want you to steal every single person in their database. I want you to take it from them. That agent I talked about earlier that's going to be added, that's leaving the business, this is what happened to them. They decided to start calling people again and realized that their database was working with other people because they needed help. Do people need help right now? Is this a very confusing time for the public in terms of real estate? Rates are up, prices are up. I don't know, prices might be going down. I hear there's a slowdown. We're post-COVID, we're still in COVID. Can you do this? They need help. And there's nobody there. You should go in there and say, I'm walking into this neighborhood and I know they have an agent. I know they have an agent. I know they have an agent. And by the end of this, I'm going to have all of them under my database. I'm going to take them. And you, Mr. or Mrs. Agent that hasn't been around, I'm taking your database and I don't care that it's going to give that because of that, your income is going to drop to zero. That's your problem. How much money did you make off your database last year? 60,000. Great. I'm taking it. You have zero. My income just went up 60 grand. How much did you make? Well, I made 40 grand. Great. You now have zero. I just increased mine 40 grand. Be greedy. Take it. Take their databases. Take their leads. Well, I'm working with another agent. Nah, yeah, not anymore. You're working with me. Take their stuff. Put people out of business for good. For good. I know, Robert, that's intense. I'm aware. But let me tell you something. If you don't take their database, what are they going to do to you? What are they going to do to you if you don't take theirs?
They take yours.
They're going to take yours. They're going to take yours, and you're going to be the one at zero. And I asked earlier, who wants to go to zero? No, everybody said no. You either take their database or they're going to take yours. That's the reality of this world. Because if you think that's mean and that's rude and that's too intense, I'm telling people to take everyone's database. And if you don't step up, they're going to take yours. And that's your problem. And then you can come to me and say, so-and-so took all my database. I'm like, yeah, because they listened. I told them to. They did it. Be greedy. Take people's databases. Take people's leads. Not if they're under contract. Don't do anything illegal. Don't do anything mean. Don't be anything malicious. Don't be a politician who runs ads just bashing other people. Don't be that. Be really good at what you do. Be greedy. Take their business. Put people out of business. Michael Klein from Hoboken, New Jersey. We interviewed him. That was one of the masterminds. And the question that was asked of him was, Michael, what would you tell to someone trying to grow their business? And Michael Klein, who is a very, very nice man, really is. If you've never met him, he's an extremely nice man. And Michael Klein, in the nicest way possible, said, here's my advice. Call your database or I will. Because he understands. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to try to take it all. All right, I wrote down here next. Don't commit the 3 sins of database. Don't commit the 3 sins of database. You want to get out of the middle? Don't commit the 3 sins of database. You all have a database. Some of you have 500 people. Some of you have 1,000. Some of you have 25. But you have a database. Okay? Don't commit the 3 sins of database. Robert, what are the 3 sins of database? Write down number 1. They know I'm in real estate. They know I'm in real estate. Do they? Let's play a game. Put in the chat box or unmute yourself. How many names you have in your cell phone? Take a guess. You don't have to look up the exact number. Take a guess. Put in the chat box or unmute yourself.
1,400.
1,400. Okay. What else? Give me all some numbers here. What do you got? Put in the chat box, unmute yourself. A couple hundred. What do we got? 3,000, 740, 2,900, 800, 650. Great. So let me ask you a question. All right. So let me ask you a question. If we went down every name in your cell phone, could you tell me exactly what that person does for a living? Everybody say no. Well, guess what? You're in somebody else's cell phone. And I get to say, okay, if I go down your cell phone, you're going to tell me what they do for a living? What's Robert do? He's in sales of some kind. Something to do with, I think he was real estate or loans or I don't know. He's something. That's how I know not everybody knows that you're in real estate because you don't know what everybody does on your phone. So don't commit sin number one. They know I'm in real estate. They don't. Okay. Some do, but some don't. Sin number two. They'll call me if they need anything. They'll call me if they need anything. Oh, so here's the thing. Some of you know this stat, so feel free to shout it out. At the end of a transaction, according to NAR, what percentage of people say they are willing to use their agent again? What percentage of people say they're willing to use their agent again?
85%.
85? Anyone else want to guess? I'm not saying you're wrong. Just saying, anyone else want to play? What percentage of people say at the end of the transaction, I'm willing to use my agent again?
50%.
50%, 50. According to NAR, they did a survey, it's 75. 75% of people at the end of the transaction say, yes, I'm willing to use my agent again. Woo! Yeah. Because you all are doing such a good job. Now let's fast forward. What percentage of people actually use their agent again? Anybody want to take a guess at that?
Isn't it like 20?
10%.
23%.
23%.
25%.
20, yeah, there you got it right. It's 23. The answer is 23. So 75% of people say I'm willing to use you again, but only 23% do. Does that disturb anyone else other than me?
And your dog?
Does anyone? Yeah, even my dog got concerned. My dog sees the nanny. Go hunt. Right? So don't tell me, well, they'll call me if they need anything. 23% will. The other 52% are using your neighbor. Sin number two. All right. And then sin number three on my database. Well, Robert, all my business comes from referrals, so I should be so I'm working my database pretty good. That's sin number three. Because when you say, well, all my business comes from referrals, so I'm doing pretty good. I'll say, how many people are in your database? You say 250. And then I'll say, great. How many deals did you close from your database last year? Well, I closed 10. Congratulations. Based on Neil and Mike and other people, out of 250 people in your database, what should be the amount of business you're getting from that? How many deals should that generate?
25.
25. So let's just say 15 to 25. So you say I closed 10 deals, which is great. Good job. You miss 5 to 15. So the biggest thing, this is one of the biggest recruiting things I do, is when people say, well, I don't need help with my database. And then I show them this and they go, oh yeah, maybe I do. Don't commit those three sins. Get in touch with your database. If you don't, what did I say earlier? If you don't, somebody else will. Don't commit those three sins. All right, I wrote down here next. Listen for clues. Listen for clues. Like the game Clue. Did anyone here ever want to be a detective? You know, play detective when you were a kid, things like that. Read any books like that? Well, if it, no, okay, moving on. Now's your chance. Listen for clues. Are there a lot of people raising their hands saying, I'm interested in selling, come tell me what you offer? Are we getting a lot of those types of people? I see one person shaking their head. Is anyone else? Did I lose the room? No one else wants to play anymore? This is the best audience I've ever had. This is the best audience I've ever had. This is the best audience I've ever had. We have to listen for clues. So let me ask you this. If you ask someone if they're interested in buying or selling and they are not interested, they've never thought about it, what are they going to say?
No.
They're going to say no, no, no. They're going to say no. Therefore, I want you to write this down. Anything other than no means you need to go deeper. Anything other than no means you need to go deeper. Because if they say, well, where would I go? That means they've thought about it. They've thought about selling. They just don't know where they're going to go. Remember this, people, if people sell for 3 reasons, either a life event, okay, which sometimes we can't do anything about, we just have to find them, or the pain of the current place or the pleasure of the next place. Somebody says, you say, have you ever thought about selling? When do you plan on moving? And they say, well, where am I going to go? That means they've thought about it, but since they don't know where they're going to go, there's a reason they don't like the current place. There's a pain in the current place because they have thought about selling, but they don't know where they're going to go. So dig deeper. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, when people say that, that usually means that there's something they don't like about their current house and they're thinking about selling. So tell me, why would you want to move from here? Go deeper. Figure out what the pain is of their current house. Well, I would love to move, but I don't know if I can afford a replacement property. I don't know if you can either. But I'm telling you, where would you go if you were going to sell? Well, I'd love to go to the beach, but it seems so expensive. It is expensive. Well, why don't we do this? Gosh, you know, if we could spend 15 minutes to figure out what you would net and then see if a lender can qualify you for a beach house, isn't that worth it? Yeah, great. Let's meet for 15 minutes. I'll show you what you can net. We'll take that number to the lender and see what happens. Go deeper. Anything that's not a no means they've thought about it, even if it's a pause. When do you plan on moving? Well, I think we're good. The wheels are in motion in their head. Don't give up. Look for clues. Go deeper. There's not people raising their hand saying, I'm here for business. Go deeper. All right, a couple more points here to get out of the middle. I wrote down, get them to open up. Get them to open up a little bit. We mentioned earlier, this is a confusing time for people. We're post-pandemic, rates are going up, prices are still going up. There's low inventory, there's less sales. Anything you read online is bat crazy, right? Get them to open up. So I want you to write down 2 questions. 2 questions I want you to write down. This should be asked of either everyone in your database or current leads. You have a current lead, write this down. What do you need to hear or see from me? What do you need to hear or see from me to help you decide? What do you need to hear or see from me to help you decide if it's better for you to list now or later? What do you need to hear or see from me to help you decide if it's better for you to list now or later? Get out of the follow-up business. Get out of the follow-up business. Play the game or move on. Play the game, move on. Miguel, you gonna say something?
I said, very good point. Very good point.
Thank you.
Say it one more time.
I'm going
What
to
do
put a
you need?
star next to that one because I finally got a response.
100%.
Yes, the line is, what do you need to hear or see from me to help you decide if it's better for you to list now or later? Now, notice the line is not, what do you need to hear from me to get you to list your house today? Because it might not be the right time for them to list. To help you decide if it's better for you to list now or later. Get out of the follow-up business. What do you need to hear? Well, I want to see what's going on with prices. Great. Here's what's going on with prices. Does that mean you want to sell or not? And if it's a no, that's okay. I just want to get out of the follow-up business. You know what, Robert? Truth is, we're probably at least a year out. Cool. Great. Good for you. No problem. Now I don't have to follow up with you every week. They don't like it. You don't like it. Get out of the follow-up business. Find out if they want to play the game or not. The second question you should be asking everybody you talk to, past clients, centers of influence, just listed, just sold. Ask this question. I'm sure you've heard, read, or seen something. I'm sure you've heard, read, or seen something about the real estate market recently. I'm sure you've heard, read, or seen something about the real estate market recently. What questions do you have that I can answer? Get them to open up to you. Have they heard, read, or seen something about real estate recently? Yes. So by giving them that line, you're telling them, don't lie to me. I'm sure you've heard, read, or seen something. So don't lie to me about it. That's what that line is saying. What questions do you have that I can answer? Well, I heard this, I heard that. Get in real estate conversations. Get them to open up. Because some people, they have questions, they have thoughts. They're just like, I don't know, and I don't know who to ask. So you ask the question, let them open up. The more you get them to open up, the more business you'll get, and it'll get you out of the middle. The agents that are going to get out of the middle in the wrong way are the ones that just tell. It's a hot market. You have all this equity. You should sell now. Rates are going up. You should buy. Get them to open up. Get them to open up. I wrote down here, check your surroundings. Make sure you're with people going in the right direction. The middle class is shrinking, which means people are either going to zero or they're going to high producer. Make sure the people you're surrounding yourself with, the people in your mastermind, the people you're role playing with, the people that you're engaging with, you're spending time with, that they're going in the right direction. Because not everybody that you're role playing with is probably going towards the high producer section. They're probably staying the same and going closer to zero. Make sure you're surrounded with people that are going in the right direction. Pretty simple. Last couple points here. I wrote down, get more face-to-face meetings, either in person or virtual. Get more face-to-face meetings, either in person or virtual. Are you a better closer on the phone or face-to-face? Anybody?
Face to face.
Face-to-face, face-to-face, face-to-face. Yeah. Can you read people better face-to-face or on the phone?
Face-to-face.
Face-to-face. So let's get more face-to-face. So somebody says, well, you know, I don't know where I would go. Great. Why don't we get together for 15 minutes on Zoom? So that way I can show you what you would net, and then we could take that number to the lender. Don't just email it to them. Get them face-to-face so you can show them the comps. You can go over the net sheet. You can see their reaction. Because here's what you can't see over the phone. You can't see that over the phone. They look at your net sheet and go, Can't see that over the phone. They're looking at their wife going, you can see that face to face. You can't see this over the phone. You can see that face to face. Get face to face, virtual or in person. Meet with people. Get the reaction. Show them the comp. Show them the net sheet. You got a buyer? Great. Let's get, if I can't get you in person to go see property because you're an investor and you're out of the area, well, Robert, they're an investor. They're out of the area. I'll just email it to them. No, they have access to computers and phones. They can see things. Get face to face with people. You want more business, get people face to face. There's this great virtual world. If they don't want to meet in person, meet on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Hangout, whatever. You got to get face to face with people. I wrote down here, be a real estate resource, not a real estate agent. Be a real estate resource, not a real estate agent. If you want to get out of the middle and get to the high producing side, you need people to call you for everything real estate related, not just when they want to buy or sell. Here's what I mean. If they're doing some remodeling to their home, they should call you to find out if you know a contractor. If they have a plumbing issue, they should call you to know if you have a plumber. If you have an electrician, if you have a roofer, they should be calling you with anything regarding their house. Now, some of you might go, well, gosh, Robert, that's going to weigh me down. They're not going to call you that much. But the more times they connect with you, the more they're thinking about you as their real estate person. That's when you get the referrals. That's when you get them to buy and sell with you. Be a resource. Don't just be a real estate agent. So sell them, teach them on the idea of, if you need a plumber, if you need an electrician, a roofer, if you need a contractor, if you need anything, if you're trying to switch your title over, call me. Let me be the person that guides you. Let me be the person that helps you. That way you're training them to constantly think of you when anything real estate comes along. Because if not, and you call them once every 2 months, that's once every 60 days. It's hard to stay top of mind when somebody brings up a real estate conversation. Oh, you should call Robert. Be a real estate resource, not a real estate agent.
Can I say something?
Yes.
The other day, I went to my client's house. She wanted me to see all the work she'd done. And I just took her some goodies. We had tea. And come to find out, she had purchased another home warranty and it was going to cost her $3,000. And so I was able to save her because she already had a home warranty that we had purchased when she closed escrow, but she wouldn't have known that. She thought it was only good for 2 months or some nonsense. So it's good to stay. And
That's
sometimes you
huge.
go,
There you go.
see them. Yeah, I went to see,
Perfect. Perfect. There you go. So that's the type of stuff that helps. That's the type of stuff that they remember. So whenever they have a real estate question, boom, it's Valerie. Which means whenever they have a real estate need, it's Valerie. Great.
I posted a question in the chat box. If anybody's got an answer to it, I'd appreciate it.
What
I
is the
didn't want to go either.
What is the
Robert.
length of time and years the DRE requires a broker to keep a close file? I believe it's 3, but I will find out. I know we throw away stuff after 3 years, so we might be in problems.
I thought it was
All right, questions on whatever I went over today? Okay, is that helpful? Is there anything of value in there? All right. Very good.
Definitely.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. All right, get out.